hi everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for DRMAC's Transportation Options Workshop. My name is Stephanie O'Neill. I'm a projects coordinator with the Denver Regional Mobility and Access Council. It's quite the mouthful, so we're better known as DRMAC. I'm joined today by Brandon Fowler from RTD and Kelsey Cable from DRCOG, who will be speaking about some of their happenings and their programs. So before we jump into things, Brandon, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Brandon Fowler. I am an ITS administrator here at RTD, and I'm the primary developer for the Accessoride customer portal that will be showing off today.
Awesome, thank you. And Kelsey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Kelsey Cable. I am a community resource specialist and the transportation voucher specialist at DRCOG in the Aging and Disability Resource Center.
Awesome. So before we jump into it, I have some quick Zoom housekeeping things. So if you haven't already, I'd like to ask that you please put your name and organization in the chat box, which can be found at the bottom of your Zoom screen. It's represented by a little speech bubble icon. And I do ask that you please remain muted until the end of the workshop, where you'll have a chance to ask questions, make any comments that you might have. I would also like to mention that I am not able to see the chat box when I'm presenting, so my colleague Diana will be managing the chat box. So if you have any problems throughout, please direct your, Diana will be able to assist you there. And I would also be grateful if you could leave all of your cameras on for the Zoom meeting. I understand that we're all probably dealing with a bit of Zoom fatigue, but I do love seeing all of your faces, so I would appreciate it if you are able to leave your camera on. So we do have a pretty packed agenda today. So I do ask that you save your questions until the end of the presentation. But if you think of something during the workshop, go ahead and just make either a mental note or a physical note or type it in the chat box, and we'll be able to get to it at the end. So thank you for that. So we are going to start today with the DRMAC Getting Their App demo, which is what I will be doing. And then I will hand it over to Kelsey to talk about DRCOG's transportation voucher program. And then after Kelsey, Brandon will demo the Accessoride web tool. And then I will go ahead and talk a little bit about the most frequently used transportation options in the metro area. So I'm going to go ahead and start with who is DRMAC? So I see a lot of familiar faces and unfamiliar faces here today. So if you're not familiar with DRMAC and what we do here, we are a nonprofit organization really trying to promote mobility and access for all, whether that's connecting with other organizations in the area, advocating directly with and for community members and riders in the area. So we do a lot of communicating and organizing and really trying to make sure that folks are able to get to where they want to go. We do also function as a regional transportation coordinating council for 9 counties of the Denver metro area. We have members as well. So we have a good army of folks who are advocates for transportation and mobility. So we have resources on our website that's down below at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. It's just drmac-co.org. We also have an information and assistance line, which I will talk about in a couple slides, and that is 303-243-3113. Here at DRMAC, we have a few different tools that we use to help you get to where you want to go. So the first one is our Getting There guide. Our second one is that Information and Assistance Center phone line. And then our third one is our Getting There app and web tool, which is what I will be demoing today. So this is a quick little video that will explain a bit about the Getting There guide and what the Information and Assistance phone line is about. So I'm going to go ahead and play that now.
This gentleman could be reading our Getting There guide. I don't believe that he really is, but he could and maybe he should if he needs some help getting around. He has some obvious special mobility needs. One of the options that we cover at DRMAC is whether a vehicle can accommodate wheelchairs, walkers, caregivers, or other similar needs. Did you know that our public transportation network, RTD, is one of the few in the country that is 100% accessible? That's right. All RTD vehicles have systems to allow this gentleman in his wheelchair to board and all sorts of other mobility devices to be accommodated, like my bicycle. Dr. Mac's Getting There guide has been printed for many years. I think the one in the picture says it's the 11th edition, but none of us can read print that small. As you'll see here, our printed guide is available in 5 languages. It is also available in large print and in an audio version which can be downloaded from our website. The Getting There guide covers 3 categories of transportation providers: regular and fixed route service, by appointment and volunteer service, and paid and for-profit options. Curious about where to find our Getting There guide? Visit us at drmac-co.org. That's drmac-co.org. Here are a variety of people conversing on a variety of devices. They could be connecting with Dr. Mac's Information and Assistance Call Center at our main number, 303-243-3113, where they'll be connected with a live human being who will give them personalized, customized information about a possible ride. It's worth mentioning that most rides cannot be fulfilled the same day, so you might want to talk with the ride service before you need to use them. Some require a 3-day advance notice. Some require that you register with them in advance. And remember that Dr. Mac does not give rides. We help you find a ride from someone else. Our information and assistance line also works with a translation service so that we can talk to callers in their native language. You'll remember that we have a printed information guide in 5 languages and can work with many others.
So the information assistance phone line and Getting There guide are just a couple of the resources that we have. You can find even more information on our website at drmac-co.org. And our third tool is our Getting There paratransit app. And this is also available as a website. So if you don't have a smartphone or just prefer not to use one, it's available there as well, which I will talk about in a couple slides. So what is the Getting There app? It has essentially taken all of the information in our Getting There guide and on our website and compressed it down into this super handy, useful tool that you can keep in your pocket or use on your computer. It contains information about private options, public options for transportation, rideshare, and even volunteer-based ones. So it's a great resource to have if you're looking for some transportation. And it uses a list of filters to help narrow down some of the resources. So you're not getting a list of 50 different providers that might not be helpful. We do that work for you and give you a customized list for you. A bit more about the app. We really tried to make it as easy and accessible to use as possible. So we really kept older adults and persons with disabilities in mind as our demographic. So there's high contrast text and colors. We tried to limit the amount of text on screen. We use a lot of icons. With that being said, it's free. It's available for everyone to use. I recommend you download it. It's a great resource to have, even if you're not using it for yourself. Just highly recommend it. There's no login required, so you don't store any of your information. You don't have to worry about remembering a password, which is super handy for a lot of us, myself included. That's the app. Before I go any further, you do not need to follow along on your own device. I will be doing the demo 100% here and showing it on the screen, so don't feel like you have to hop on your computer, on your phone, download anything. Just sit back, watch. I'm just going to share where you can find it. So like I mentioned before, the app is available on your computer at gettingthereguide.com. It's going to be the same exact resource as the app. It looks the same, functions the same. It's just available on your computer. So it's great to have there. And then if you do prefer to use it on your phone or you just want to have it there, you can go ahead and search Getting There in the App Store, and you'll look for this icon. It's a white square with a blue and green half circle, and that's actually the Dr. Mac logo. It's available in the Apple Store as well as the Google Play Store on Android and Samsung devices. So again, you don't have to follow along. You don't have to run to your phone, download this, just sit back and relax. With every great app, we are always updating the provider information to make sure that you're getting the most accurate search results. So if you do download the app and you notice something that could be better, or just have any ideas, please do that and let me know. Any feedback that you give is super valuable and definitely helps. So I am going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to move over to my phone and show you the app. All right, so we're going to open up the Getting There app here. And this is the first screen that you'll see. So it says find transit providers. And here it says you can fill out as much of this information as you'd like or as little. The more information you fill out, the less search results you'll get because it will be more customized and filtered to your needs and what you want. So first question is your starting address. So you'll click on that box or tap it if you're on your phone. And you can go ahead and actually just start typing an address. So so let's say I'm at the Colorado Capitol building. So I'm going to say Colorado Capitol, and you'll see as I'm typing, it will automatically generate the address. So I don't have to memorize the address. It uses Google to do that, which is super helpful. So I can see down here, it says Colorado State Capitol. So I'm going to click that. And it will actually have its 200 East Colfax Ave. So it'll just have that there. And then where do I want to go? Let's see. I think I want to catch a baseball game. So I'm going to go to Coors Field. So I'm going to go ahead and start typing Coors Field. I can see it there. Go ahead and click there. And then as I scroll down, or as you're on your computer, you scroll down, you'll see some more questions. So here it asks your age range. The choices are under 50, 50 to 59, 60 to 64, or 65 and older. So let's say I'm over 65. As I keep scrolling, it'll ask me, am I a veteran or have I ever qualified for Medicaid services? And these are just questions that we ask because there are transportation providers that do specifically serve these population groups. So I'm not going to click either of those today. And then it asks the purpose of your ride. So if I go ahead, click that, I'll be prompted with this little screen here where I can select my purpose. So I could be going to the airport, or maybe I have a doctor's appointment, or maybe I'm getting some sort of procedure done, or maybe I'm just going to the grocery store or my friend's house, or maybe I'm going to the baseball game. So I'm going to say other, which is what that would fall under. And then the last question here it asks is if you would like any accommodations for your ride. So there's curb-to-curb service, door-to-door service. Some providers will actually do a door-through-door service where they'll make sure that you get safely into your house from the vehicle. There's a stretcher, wheelchair accessible vehicle, or both wheelchair accessible vehicle and stretcher. So I'm going to go ahead and click on wheelchair accessible vehicle. And then I scroll down and I can click that search box. And then you can also see here at the bottom, it says the search form is also available at gettingtheirguide.com. So if you are on your phone, or maybe you just forgot this is available as a website, there's just a reminder that that's the website there. So I'm going to go ahead and click search. And you can see here at the top, it says 13 transit providers found. And you can go ahead and scroll down and you can see all of these transportation providers are based on the filters that I provided. So if I checked off more boxes, like let's say I said I was a veteran, I probably wouldn't get these same exact results. So the more you provide, the less you have. So let's go ahead and click on A-Lift here. Go ahead, click that, or tap it if you're on your phone, and you will be given a list of information about A-Lift specifically. So I can see there's a description of A-Lift up top here. Then as I scroll down, I can see the population that it serves. So I can see it serves residents living in urban Adams County. And then as I keep scrolling down, I get more information like the purposes that they serve. So I know I said that other, I was doing an other trip because I'm going to the baseball game. I can see that they serve individuals who are 55 and older. You can see their phone number and their website. And you can actually go ahead and click right on that website and it will bring you to their webpage. You can also click on that phone number there. And if you're on your phone, it will bring up a little bar at the bottom of the screen to call that phone number. And then if you're on your computer, it won't, because unless you have a really fancy computer that makes phone calls, I don't, but you would be able to do that. So you'll just find information there about the transit provider and any advanced scheduling details. I can see that I have to make it at least 2 days in advance here, and I see the hours of service and everything like that. So anything that would be helpful to you as the rider, we have it here. As you scroll down to the bottom of the screen, you can go ahead and click that back button and it will bring you right back to that list of transit providers. And if you wanted to do a new search, you can go ahead in the bottom left-hand corner of that screen, just hit search again. I'm going to scroll to the top here. In that top right-hand corner, you'll see those 3 stacked lines. If you click on that, that'll just bring you to the app menu. This is where you'll find information about DRMAC. We have some service area information. So these are the 9 counties that we serve here at DRMAC that we have resources for. And as you scroll down, you'll find information about Medicaid transportation. Sorry, I'm scrolling a little bit fast. You can scroll slower on your own. Information about veteran transportation and just some helpful resources there, and some information about peak fare assistance, which I'll actually talk about later, and then any other helpful tools and apps that we have. So that's pretty much it. That's how the app works. Like I said, there's no logins. You don't have to worry about remembering passwords. And that's pretty much the app. We tried to make it as straightforward as possible. Pass it off to Kelsey, who will be talking about Dr. Cog's transportation voucher program. Kelsey, it's all yours.
Hi there. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So once again, I'm Kelsey. I'm here from Dr. Cog. That stands for the Denver Regional Council of Governments. I'm going to do a brief program overview of what our agency provides, and then I'll go into what you all are here for, and that's to learn about our transportation options. Within Dr. Cog, we house the Area Agency on Aging for most of the Denver metro counties. And the Area Agency on Aging, or the AAA, is a federally mandated program, receives the authority and funding through the Older Americans Act, as well as the Older Coloradoans Act. There are over 630 area agencies on aging nationwide, and 16 within Colorado. The counties that we serve are Adams, Arapahoe, Broomfield, Clear Creek, Denver, Douglas, Gilpin, and Jefferson. So I'd like to just start by saying that our AAA, we provide a lot of services for older adults, and as well as for folks with disability over the age of 18. I'm just going to touch very briefly on one of those programs, but we also have a case management team, options counseling, an ombudsman team, a SHIP program to help with Medicare counseling, and a lot more. So if you have clients that need assistance with anything age related, I would highly recommend having them call our information and assistance line, which is the phone number at the top of the screen here. That's 303-480-6700. So our Choice Services program, we are providing no-cost community services to folks that are over 60 and older and qualify. And those services include multiple transportation options, both for personal and medical needs, as well as in-home services. So our transportation program, I apologize, we just changed our rebranding the name. So now it's Choice Services Program. But we currently work with 3 major contractors. The first of those is RTD. We provide bus tickets, local full-priced and discount tickets, as well as accessoride tickets to folks that are enrolled in our program. We also contract with Uber, and we provide a payment method for a certain amount of money each month that folks can utilize however they need to. They just need to have their own Uber app set up. And then our third contractor is called Hop Skip Drive. It's similar to Uber in that it's a rideshare company, and the difference is that folks will call in directly to our information and assistance line to schedule rides with us. Those do need to be scheduled in advance, and there's a mileage cap of 20 miles for one-way trips, as well as a limit of rides each week for personal and medical reasons. The eligibility requirements for our Choice Services transportation program is just that the individual needs to be over the age of 60, live within our county region, and have the ability to schedule their own rides, whether that be figuring out what bus they need to take to where they need to get to, or scheduling through their Uber app, or giving us a call to schedule rides. So our information and assistance line, that's the phone number I provided before, but this phone line is staffed by our community resource specialists that provides a streamlined access to resources and services by phone and through email. We provide information and assistance to adults 60 and older, individuals 18 and older with disabilities, and anyone seeking resources or information. This is the phone number that you can pass along to your clients if you think this is a program that would be useful for them and that they would qualify. Just have them give that phone number a call. That's 303-480-6700, and they can ask for transportation options, and our community resource specialists will go through the options available to them.
And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Brandon to talk about the RTD Accessoride web tool. Brandon?
All right, I will briefly show my camera. It's a little fritzy on Zoom for some reason, so I'll wave and then turn it off. So thank you, Stephanie, for introducing me. Again, my name is Brandon Fowler. I'm with RTD. I'm one of their intelligent transportation system administrators, and I am the one primarily who developed the customer portal application for Accessoride. This application was developed in-house after a few years of some frustrations with a vendor who said they would give us one. And so we finally just kind of threw our hands up and said, let's do it ourselves. And so it's been a passion project, and we're super happy with it. So what I'll do is sort of kind of give you a quick overview and then give you a demo. Nothing to share on my screen yet, but yeah, so the Accessoride customer portal, it's a web-based application that it allows customers to easily monitor and manage upcoming trips. It'll provide near real-time ETA. It'll show scheduled trip information. It gives customers the ability to cancel their upcoming scheduled trips. And it gives them the ability to book trips to and from favorite locations, and even just manually entered addresses. And our customer portal was also independently certified as having met or exceeded web content accessibility guidelines. So it's definitely accessible. The platform is agnostic, and what I mean by that is you can open it up in a web browser, whether it be on your computer, on your desktop, your laptop, or you can open it up on an iPhone or an Android phone. It doesn't really matter. There's not a traditional app that you download and install from an app store. So it's just a web address that you go to. To date, we've had, or this is actually about 1 year that we've had this running. In the past 30 days, I looked up a little bit ago, we had about 8,000 logins and about 115,000 ETA requests. So it's definitely active. We see the statistics trending up every month for this, and we're super excited to see that. So let me go ahead and show my screen. And so first, I'll just start off real quick with the requirements to use this.
I'm not seeing Brandon's screen. Is anybody else seeing his screen?
I think I did that last time too.
Now I see Google.
Yes. Okay, good. So yeah, the first requirements for this are that someone be an active certified Accessoride customer. And if you want to look for information on how to become an Accessoride customer, that's definitely on the RTD website. Once you are a customer of Accessoride, you can provide a valid email address. And when that valid email address is entered into the customer profile, that person is automatically sent an activation email for this customer portal. They can ignore it, or they can open it up and actually kind of activate that account and set their password. Once they've done that, they can then go to the customer portal and use it. So there's a couple ways you can find it. If you ever want to just search it on Google, RTD customer portal, real easy. And the first link here will take you to sort of a landing page, which I can show on this. If I click here, it takes you to the customer portal section of the website. If you're going to just rtddenver.com, if you're here, you can click services and then Accessoride. And you'll see there's a little link kind of in the top menu for Accessoride that says customer portal. Again, takes you to that same landing page. When you get here, it'll give you some quick information on getting started and sort of the step-by-step process for first-time users. Like I said, you got to have a valid email, you'll get that. But once you have all that information and you've activated your account, you can then open the portal, right? And there's a link here to just take you straight to it. And so the address up here in the bar might be a little hard to see, so I've sort of blown it up, on TextPad. It's the RTD Denver website /app/AAR. So once you go there once, just definitely bookmark it. That way you don't have to remember it, and you can always get back to it. So once you get here, let's go through some of the functionality. I have a sort of local dev environment running in the background here. And this is pointed to our live production system. This is one of our customers right now. And so you can see on here, as soon as you log in, the ETA tab will show you the estimated pickup time for your next trip. If you click the vehicle here, it'll kind of show you what the bus number is. It'll show you how long ago it reported. And this page here will update every 30 seconds. So it's fairly near real time. And you'll even see down here, we've got a little orange icon. This indicates that there's a stop that they have to perform before they actually get to the final destination, which is this customer's pickup. So right now the ETA is 47 minutes. You'll see the vehicle move. You'll see the ETA go down. You'll see this little dot disappear after they pick that person up. And then eventually you'll see that vehicle work its way back to the pickup location. The map automatically zooms in and out to account for everything on the screen. And that's pretty much it for the ETA screen. We've designed this with the concept of just keeping it simple. We don't want to make it too complicated. And first and foremost, we want it to be accessible. So not a lot of crazy menus, not a lot of crazy buttons, just very simple to get that information. Let's see. One other thing, once it actually gets to the pickup location, the text up here will change. It'll say vehicle arrived, and it will show the vehicle number real big and bold. So it's real easy to see. And then once they get onto the vehicle, this language sort of changes to estimated drop off X number of minutes. So it's intended to be used for the entire length of the trip, before, while you're on board, and even afterwards. Once that trip's completed, and say you have no more trips for the day, it will then sort of disappear. And let me open up another window, kind of uses a different customer. It'll say estimated time not yet available, vehicle's not available. That's just because there's nothing coming up for this test customer that I'm showing you now. If I go to the scheduled tab, this here will show a list of trips that are scheduled within the next 7 days. And it's going to show the trip date, the pickup window. If there is an appointment time that you intend to be dropped off by, we will list that here. Otherwise, it's just not available. We'll show the pickup address, the drop-off address, and the expected pay. So depending on what type of trip it is, if you're going to the airport, that may be different. Depending on what the funding source is, it could be zero. Typically, I think they're $5 or $10, depending on if it's local or regional trip though. Some of these other ones look a little bit different. You'll notice this second one here shows that it's under review. Even the expected pay is under review. That's an indication that this is a trip that was requested to a location that the customer manually typed in on the booking tab. And the reason it's under review is we want the reservation agent to look at it, confirm that all the details are correct and nothing looks out of place. If something does look out of place, then give them a call just to kind of confirm a few things. Now, these trips here, you can cancel these trips from this screen. There is a note up here on the description. It says you're not able to cancel trips that are scheduled to occur within the next 2 hours. For those types of trips, it's requested that the customer call the dispatch office and let them know that's kind of considered a late cancel. And we want to talk to the dispatcher directly for those. So if I want to cancel any of these, I can just kind of check over here and you'll notice the button pops up. I'll hit cancel trips. And again, notice the language. If you want to cancel within the next 2 hours, please call Access-a-Ride. But if I hit OK, then boom, that trip is gone. And I got my other two there. Now, if I go to the book tab, we got a little bit more descriptions here, just because there's some things to note. Trip requests can be made 1 to 7 days in advance for Access-a-Ride service. Any trips that are requested for the next day, they must be submitted before 5 p.m. That's because the scheduling department at 5 p.m., that cutoff, that's where they start sort of optimizing all the trips and deciding what vehicles and what drivers and what contractors are getting which trips. So again, that's the cutoff for next day. If I scroll down here just a little bit, the booking form, you can specify if it is a pickup type trip or a drop off at appointment time. If it's a doctor's appointment, somewhere you got to be at a specific time, that's the one you would pick. Most of the trips in our system end up being pickups. So for example, I'll just pick that one. If I look at the dates here, you'll notice these are for the next 7 days. I'll pick Friday just because I know I canceled that one already, so there's not going to be a conflict. And I could pick, we'll say 8 a.m. Yep, already set to 8 a.m. Home address is going to be the default kind of top item right here. And maybe I want to go to Walmart, so I'll pick Walmart. This list of addresses here, these are considered favorite addresses that are part of the customer profile when you become an Access-a-Ride customer. We do have an automated process in the background that sort of checks the locations that a customer has gone to and from. And if there is an address that's not listed here in favorites, it will automatically add some recently used addresses as well, up until you get about, I think it's 10 or 11 in the complete list. Attending count for this case, we'll just set it to 0. Well, if I set it to 1, I can specify over here, is the attendant ambulatory, using a walker, etc. If you have a guest, you can do the same thing. What's the mobility type? And if I hit request, I'll get a success, trip request received. And if I switch back to my schedule tab, you'll now see that that is shown here on the schedule tab. It even shows the expected price, including guests. If I go back to the booking tab, one thing that we added from a request from one of the customers was the ability to manually just put in an address. So I can try to book that same type of trip. We'll say maybe 4 p.m. this time. And I'll say it's from the home address. And now I can click manually enter the address. If I do that, you can manually type in the address here. It looks like I've got one sort of saved, so I can save myself some time. And you can enter in comments for that, like maybe this is the pharmacy or something. The comments sort of help the reservationist understand where you're trying to go. If maybe you typed in the wrong number or something, when they review these manually entered addresses, the comments are a great help if there's anything not entered correctly there. And I can request a trip again. And that one is received as well. One thing to note about booking these trips, there are some requirements, and I'll go through those here real quick. Like I said, the first one is the trip that you're booking has to be within the next 7 days. That's the window for Access-a-Ride. Again, the next day trips have to be booked before 5 p.m. The origin and destination addresses cannot be the same. The attendant count must be set if the customer is approved for an attendant. We need to know, is there going to be one or is there not? Duplication, we make sure that if a trip request comes in, that there is no duplicate trip that looks exactly the same. And we also check the suspension and certification status of the customer profile. If their certification is expired, or for some reason there's been a series of service abuses, and what I mean by that is maybe a lot of late cancels or no-shows, and that customer has been suspended, then when you log in here, if you try to book a trip, it'll say, unfortunately, sorry, we couldn't book this trip. Your certification's expired or you're suspended. Well, the other checks that we look for are trip overlaps, and those are hugely important. If let's look over here. So on the scheduled tab, Friday 8 a.m. I have a pickup. If I go over here and say, hey, let's do I want to do another pickup Friday at 9 a.m. It's going to come back and tell me, yeah, you can't do that. Overlapping trip exists. Next potential pickup time is 10:30 a.m. This here was added also based on customer request, because before it just said you have an overlapping trip and it wasn't real obvious what time that was. So we've now included that as part of the kind of the pop-up. So you don't have to go in here and go maybe 10:05 and just kind of increment until it works. So now we can know for sure, okay, well, 10:30, it says I can book. If I hit request, now it says request received. And we no longer have the overlap. On Friday, we've got the 8 a.m. trip and then the 10:30 trip there. So that works great. The other thing, the last thing that we check when booking these trips is to make sure that there's just actually service available. And Access-a-Ride service is dependent on fixed route schedules. So if there is a bus that runs within 3/4 of a mile of your house, the service times of that bus are the service times of the Access-a-Ride service. If the bus runs between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., that's when Access-a-Ride service is available. So we're constantly checking when you book these, is there service available at the pickup and drop off location? I'm kind of guessing here that maybe there's not 1 a.m. service. If let me pick Sunday, because we definitely have slower or less service on Sundays. Denied over, oh, there's an overlapping trip. Okay, let me do Saturday. Friday? Unless I found a bug. Oh, maybe I found a bug. Okay, service unavailable for pickup. No, that was too quick. Service unavailable for pickup and drop off addresses at date and time. So it will tell you that. I'll definitely have to go back and look at that other one because that didn't look right to me. So those are the requirements for booking a trip. I'll also note that when customers are on this ETA tab, depending on the weather, if there's inclement weather, a blizzard or something, this service is constantly checking the National Weather Service. If there's something close in the area that would prevent or slow down service for a customer, we put an advisory at the top to let them know, hey, just so you're aware, there's a snowstorm outside. We also display a button right under this language here. If a vehicle is able to pick up someone early, and they're, say, a direct ride, they're being picked up and dropped off, there's no one in between, we will pop up a button here that says ready early. And when a customer presses that, it'll notify the driver, hey, this person's ready to be picked up early, if you're able to do so. And so that sort of helps with on-time performance and the scheduling and of other customers after them. So it's just an opportunity to help people get where they need to be quicker, as opposed to just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting for that scheduled pickup time. Let's see. There's been a series of items that have been kind of recommended from customers over the past year. Showing the expected cost was one, showing the appointment time was one, showing the vehicle number when the vehicle arrives is another one, allowing the manual address booking. Those were all suggestions from customers that we took and implemented fairly quickly, actually. And we continue to do that as those roll in. Lately, hasn't been a ton of that, but yeah, occasionally there's been a request for feature enhancements. So I think that about covers it. We'll switch back to, looks like this customer here will be picked up in 34 minutes. Yeah, so that's it. That's the Accessoride customer portal. I'll pitch it back over to you, Stephanie.
I'm gonna play the video. If you can't hear the sound, let me know.
This is a brochure about DRMAC's Getting There travel training program. You'll see that we offer the training on a rolling basis. If you go to our website, you'll be able to see more than one choice of dates for the beginning training. We do require that you sign up in advance, so if you're interested in learning more, please reach out to our program manager, Latoya Pranti. Her email is lprante@drmac-co.org. And you can also reach her at our main number, which is 303-243-3113. Travel training teaches people how to navigate the Denver metro area in a safe and effective manner using public transportation, bikes, and scooters. During travel training, you'll learn how to schedule trips, purchase tickets, ride RTD buses, trains, Lyft bikes, and scooters, transfer from one bus or train to another, how to use RTD and Lyft apps, and how to stay safe on public transportation, especially during COVID. Some of the reasons folks don't ride the bus include fear of strangers, getting lost, difficulty figuring out the systems, and not knowing the cost or how to buy a ticket. Travel training can teach you how to save money on parking fees and how to get to lots of fun places like museums, shows, and doctor's offices. Well, maybe that's not so fun. Look how happy this bus driver is to take you to where you want to go. Our local Denver public transportation system is the Regional Transportation District, known as RTD. Here in Denver, and in most of Colorado, the local transportation system is safe, clean, and mostly on time. In Denver, the local service, RTD, has all kinds of interesting information on their website, like a map that will show you the closest bus or train stop to your house. You'll learn how to use that map in our classes. Did I hear someone say that RTD bus drivers can kneel? Oh, RTD buses can kneel. They lower down to your level so you don't have to take a big step up to enter the bus. Now here's something cool you can learn how to do. You can take your bike on the bus. This lets you go much longer distances. For example, if your friend lives in the suburbs, you can bike to the bus, take your bike with you, and then bike 12 blocks from the closest bus stop to your friend's house. And as an added bonus, biking is great for your health.
All right, so that is our Getting There travel training. It is run by our program manager, Latoya Pranti. So I highly recommend signing up for those trainings. You can find the dates for those on our website at drmac-co.org. Under Getting There, at the top menu, you'll see Getting There travel training, and then you'll see the dates there. So highly recommend signing up for those. They're all virtual right now, and I have a feeling that spots are going to be filling up quickly. So I'd recommend it. Great training. You learn a lot. And I personally know that I feel comfortable, or a lot more comfortable using RTD transit than I was before after taking training. So her contact information is there. And I will be reaching over my computer here because I'm looking at my phone on the top here. So I'm going to skip through a few of these slides. And I would like to preface this by saying I'm only going to be talking about a handful of transportation options in the area. There are a lot more. Those can all be found on our website at drmac-co.org. I will include this website at the end as well for you to write down or type in whatever you want to do. And I'm not trying to sell anyone on these resources, just sharing the information. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. We are going to start with our fixed route service. So this is RTD buses, the trains, light rails, all of the rail services there. It's available to the general public. It is the most on-demand service. You don't have to reserve anything in advance. There are schedules online. There are wonderful maps online as well on their website, and you will actually learn how to use all of those maps and more in Latoya's travel training. So again, recommend that. Some fare information for a 3-day pass is $3. There are some discount fares available to some different age groups as well. There's an income-based fare, income-based fare as well. So the prices for those, there's one for folks who are 65 and older and have disabilities. That's 50% off, so that's $1.50 for the 3 hours. Anyone who is ages 6 to 19 will get a 70% discount, so that equates to 90 cents for the 3 hours. And then it's free for anyone under 5. So I'll talk about a little bit more about, I will talk a little bit about the income-based fare in the next slide, but that would be a 40% discount at $1.80 for the 3 hours. So RTD's contact information is right there. You can find all of this and more on their website. It's just rtd-denver.com. And you'll find that trip planner and the map and all the fun tools. It's just a fun time. You should just go on their website to click around because they have a lot there. So that income-based fare, it's called the LIVE program, and you can access it through Peak Fare Assistance, which is the platform you would use to apply for other things like SNAP, Medicaid, anything like that. You can find this on RTD's website as well, rtd-denver.com/live. And this is how you would get that 40% discount fare. So it's based on a few different things, but you can go to their website. They have the list of qualifications there. And you can also access the application. So everything's in one place and nice and right there. Next slide. So the next program from RTD I'm going to talk about is RTD Flex Ride. So this is going to be your most on-demand service from RTD. It's a first and last mile service that will help you get to any sort of like a park and ride station or anything where you wouldn't be able to necessarily walk to. You can reserve or make a reservation in as little as 10 minutes before you need it, or you can make it up to 30 days in advance. So if you're someone who really likes to plan out trips, or you know you're going to have a lot of things going on in the next month, you can go ahead and do that. Again, it's available to the general public, and as the video mentioned that I had played in the beginning about RTD, all of their vehicles are 100% accessible, including these ones, and the fare information is still it's the same as the fixed route service. So it's going to be that $3 for the 3-hour pass. And then there's those discount fares as well. A quick note about the discount fares. You don't necessarily have to have a discount card, although they do offer a discount card. So if let's say I was 70 and I just got on the RTD bus, I could, either if a driver asked me to present some form of ID just to prove my age, I could do that. If I wasn't comfortable doing that, I could go ahead and apply for a discount card. So I could just go on the bus and show them my discount card and there wouldn't be any further questions. So it's totally up to you, personal preference. Same with if I was a student, I could show them my student ID if they asked. But that's totally a personal preference. You don't have to have a discount card, but you can if you want to. So FlexRide contact information is here. Their phone number is 303-299-6000, and you'll select option 2 to schedule a ride. If you don't want to call to schedule a ride, you can also do it on their website, or they have a mobile app on your smartphone that you can use. So, the image is cutting it off a little bit, but this is RTD Accessoride and Accessicab. So these are RTD's paratransit services. These are available to anyone who isn't able to use the normal fixed route service. You do have to live within 3/4 of a mile from any established RTD route. And I'll talk a little bit about the qualifications and how you apply and everything on the next slide, but this is what the RTD Accessoride bus looks like. So if you are interested in applying for that, learning more information about that, again, rtd-denver.com is the website. And then you'll go over to the accessibility tab where you can find information about how to apply for Accessoride. So it's available to anyone, persons with disabilities who aren't able to use the normal fixed route service. Maybe you're not able to get on and off the bus using the lift that they have, or when the bus lowers itself or anything like that. So here is where you would find information about that, as well as the application. There are some steps included in the application. You have to get approval from a medical professional and things like that, but it's definitely a great resource to have if you're going to, if you have regular medical appointments or things like that. It's just a nice thing to have in your back pocket or in your front pocket, whichever you prefer. So next is VIA Mobility. These are a couple of their vehicles here. It is a ride service that it's free. Donations are appreciated, but it's available to individuals who are 60 years or older and or persons with disabilities. They don't serve all counties in Colorado, but they do serve in Adams, Arapahoe, Boulder, Denver, and Jefferson counties. This is a service that you have to pre-register for. So if you're interested in this service, you can go ahead and call 303-444-3043 to talk to someone and see if you qualify. And then if you are, you can get that set up and use those rides. I would like to mention that at the moment, VIA is experiencing, as I think a lot of folks are, a driver shortage, and with things opening back up, there's a little bit of that barrier there trying to get everyone to where they want to go. So just something to keep in mind if you call and you don't have someone pick up right away or things like that. So that's VIA. Next up is a service called IntelliRide. So this is going to be your Medicaid non-emergency medical transportation. That's what that stands for there. This is a transportation service available to individuals who have Medicaid transportation benefits. And if you're sitting there and you're saying, well, I have Medicaid, but I have no idea if I have transportation benefits, that's okay. You can go ahead and call IntelliRide and give them your Medicaid number, and they'll actually check to see if you have those benefits. You don't have to go scrambling through papers and calling a bunch of different people. So they provide trips to your medical appointments only, and reservations for that must be made at least 2 days in advance. So it's not a super last minute option, but it definitely, you have to schedule it a month in advance kind of thing. And their contact information is 303-398-2155. That is their phone number. Next up, we have busting and outrider. So maybe you have a great time getting around the city and the metro area, but you kind of want to visit the mountains because, let's face it, Colorado is beautiful and it deserves to be explored. So busting and outrider could be a great option for you. This is just low cost transportation to other parts of Colorado and to the mountains. They have routes. They have a service called Snow Sting that actually goes to the ski resorts in the winter. So that's available. There's some popular routes here to like Fort Collins and Grand Junction. They have a ton of them on the website. at ridebusting.com, but it is available to the general public. It's accessible. They do have those discounts available. So same ones with RTD, those discount fares. And then it's just it's a coach bus. It has some pretty nice amenities like Wi-Fi, some power outlets, has restrooms on board, which is pretty convenient. But their phone number is 1-800-900-3011. And again, their website is just ridebusting.com. So that's a cool option if you're looking to get into the mountains. And lastly here, we have some rideshare options. So you may or may not already be familiar with Uber and Lyft. Uber and Lyft operate in a similar manner where you can download their app on your smartphone and schedule a ride there. It is a private option, private rideshare option, so it can get kind of pricey depending on the time of day and where you're going. So, it might be a good option to use occasionally or, frequently depending on what you're looking for. And then there's also GoGo Grandparent, which is another rideshare option. It's available for older adults. And they have certified drivers, and it functions in a similar manner as Uber and Lyft, except you just go ahead and call that phone number on the screen rather than downloading an app, and they will set up a ride for you. They'll call you when your ride's on its way and give you updates. And they have a phone menu, so you don't have to worry about like downloading the app and figuring out the menu and everything like that. So their phone number is 1-855-464-6872. Again, that's GoGo Grandparent. And like I mentioned before, these are just some of the options that are available. You can go ahead and check out gettingtheirguide.com, which is that app tool that I showed you earlier, or you can go to our website, DRMAC's website at drmac-co.org. And on our homepage right there, if you scroll down, you'll find an alphabetical list of all of the transportation providers that we have information for. And you can actually click on each one and get more information like the cost, the hours of service, event scheduling information, all of those things there. So we have the information in a few different places, and I encourage you to check it out. Even if you don't use it for yourself, maybe you can use it for a client or a patient or a family member, friend, whoever it may be. Never hurts to have more information. So that is all I have. Here we have my contact information, Brandon's contact information, and Kelsey's information here. And I am going to open the floor up for any questions. I will leave this up. So Diana, if there are any questions in the chat, would you mind just coming off of mute and speaking those? And if not, if anyone has questions, feel free to hop off of mute. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can type your questions in the chat or whatever feels comfortable for you. So hopefully you feel like you've learned a few different things. I know I have, but thank you all for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today. But yeah, if you have any questions, ask away.
So we have one from the chat from Randy W. for you, Stephanie. So wants to know, can you sort the Getting There app by fee? So if they're free or for the recommendation?
That's a great question. We do not have that ability in our app to do. We do have a large majority, I would say, of our resources are low or no cost options, but we do have some private options in there as well. But unfortunately, we don't have the ability to search by cost and use that filter. But that's definitely a great piece of feedback to keep in mind. So thank you for that.
And the next one is from David W. Also for you, Stephanie. Is the translation available through the app or only while calling the number?
So also another great question. In the smartphone app and on the web tool, there is no, right now at least, there's no translation available. However, if you go to drmac-co.org, our homepage, and you scroll down and you'll see that alphabetical list of all the transportation providers, you can translate that into any language you want. We just have a Google Translate option there. So it'll translate the whole page and you can view all of the same information in whatever language you'd like. So not available in the app, is available on the phone line and on our DRMAC website.
The next one is from Randy for Kelsey. Would like to know how you get enrolled in the program.
Yeah, so for our choice voucher program, we ask that people call our information and assistance line. It's a brief enrollment process, and that phone number is 303-480-6700. I'll also type it in the chat so you all have that as well.
Okay, next question is from Michaela, and it says, on the website for Intelluride, it states that they do non-emergency transportation as well as non-medical rides. Is this inaccurate?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm aware that they have that on the website. What we've been finding recently is that they have just been doing medical trips. I don't know if any of my other DRMAC colleagues want to hop in and have any other comments on that.
So next.
Oh, I was gonna, yeah, people should go and look and see what is on the Intelluride website. They have a lot of information, and they traditionally only provide medical trips. Carol, any more?
And there are, some Medicaid plans, like if you're on a Medicaid waiver, that does cover some non-medical transportation. And I don't know if Intelluride's helping with some of that too, but in those cases, people need to be working with their case manager who manages their Medicaid waiver. So places like Rocky Mountain Human Services or other community center boards so I would just, if you know somebody that's on a Medicaid waiver that needs some non-medical transportation, you should direct them back to the case manager that manages that waiver, and they can help them.
Thank you. And no one's seeing my screen anymore, is that correct? We're just seeing faces.
We're just seeing faces.
Okay, wonderful. All right, awesome. Okay, continue.
Okay, next question is from Richard R. Wants to know if does 3-4 mile distance from established RTD route apply if route is not being serviced?
If the route is not being serviced?
I think I can speak to that one. So we are currently grandfathering service that was available back in January of 2020, pre-pandemic. So any service that was available at that time is still currently available, in addition to any service that is available for routes that were created in the last service change, which was this past month. So we're sort of combining two different service levels from different periods of time, and that's the overall service availability. If anyone is curious if service is available for a particular address, under the Accessoride page on rtddenver.com, there is a ADA service lookup tool, and you can just type in your address and it will tell you if service is available for a location at a particular day and time during the week. Does that help? All right.
All right. And I think Kelsey put in the phone number for the Choice Services Program if anybody needs that again. There is also a comment from Randy. The NMT is a bus pass request service. You need to be enrolled in the case management services through Medicaid and have a specific waiver. Then also from Michaela, we have a question. Are there any DRMAC programs? Are there any programs DRMAC is aware of that offers free bus passes for those disabled and under 60 years old?
That's a great question. Does anyone, DRMAC, DRMAC folks, does anyone have any?
Carol?
No, I'm not aware of any passes for people with disabilities that are free. I think as Stephanie pointed out, you can apply for a special discount card that gives you a 50% discount to ride. And Kate, do you want to add anything to that? Or
No, I think there's, that's another one where you can go to the RTD website and look up, search for discounts, and there are a variety of discount programs there. And our Getting There guide also gives a variety of options that are, as Stephanie said earlier, low cost or no cost. So I think that's all we can say about it.
right. I mean, if Via, as Stephanie pointed out, Via Mobility offers services to people with disabilities for people under the age of 60. They do not charge, they accept donations. So there might be an alternative. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I do want to quickly mention that immigration status doesn't affect any sort of eligibility for programs, as to my knowledge, at least. So if that's something that anyone is wondering, that shouldn't matter. And I see another question from Brandon actually in the chat. Are there travel training programs available for non-English speaking riders? And if so, are they provided tools to help them communicate with rail and bus operators? I know for DRMAC's travel training, we currently don't offer the actual training in a different language. However, if anyone wants to bring their own interpreter, that's more than okay. And beyond that, I'm not positive about as far as like the tools to help them communicate with the rail and bus operators. So again, if anyone else from DRMAC knows better, or if anyone in general knows any information about that.
So I can speak to that one a little bit. Our travel training program is designed that if you want to bring your own translator, and particularly if there's a group that wants to sign up, the training can be done. Our travel trainer would speak in English, and then your translator would translate the whole thing, but it's designed to accommodate that at any time. And all of our tools have a translate function in the upper right-hand corner of the web page. So you should be able to get what you need. And I believe that once you've been through travel training, you would be able to communicate with the bus driver and with the fare system and with all of the things that you need to know to be able to comfortably use the public transportation system here in the greater Denver area. How was that?
It's pretty good. I'll note, years ago, I came from a different transit agency, nonprofit in Kentucky, and in light of some of like the refugee stuff recently in the news, I recall that yes, they had a refugee program with some travel training tools, and they had like some booklets that were translated in a variety of different languages, and they could sort of point at things, and it was something they could carry with them when they had challenges communicating. So I'd asked a few people at RTD about it too, and they weren't sure if that was something that was available within RTD or anywhere really. So just an idea.
RTD's customer service also has a variety of languages So if you call the customer service department, most of the time they can speak with you.
Excellent.
And we did put a note into the chat about the Accessoride service. So if you need that link to look up and see if Accessoride is available in your area, there's the link in the chat.
Great, thank you, Kate. Are there any other questions? Diana, did we get all of the questions in the chat?
I have a question, please. Hi, thank you to the three of you for providing this information. I'm Teresa Fallagrady with Denver Workforce Services, and I'm also a commissioner with the Denver Commission on Aging. And we had an event today, as a matter of fact, and a lot of older adults wanted more information on transportation services. So I was able to give them your Getting There guide, but we ran out of them. And so I will pass this information along to people, but I also wanted to know, because a lot of folks are asking, is there any other kind of transportation service in addition to GoGo Grandparent where you don't have to download an app or use a smartphone? You can just use your regular phone, because a lot of older folks don't want to or don't know how to use a computer. So can any of the three of you suggest those?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if did I cut anyone off, or is that just my own feedback? I think it was probably just my own feedback. Yeah, that's a great question, because there's definitely a lot of folks don't like using phones, like apps on phones. So I think if any DRMAC people, is Hop Skip Drive, I know that's primarily through DRCOG, but is that something where you just call and schedule that? A lot of these services also don't have, not a lot of them, but they don't have an app where you pretty much just call and schedule the ride, and they'll confirm that your reservation, so you don't have to worry about fiddling with a phone or things like that. But I'm not.
So
How about
I can
if I take that for a second? Lyft does have a phone number, Teresa. You can call Lyft on the phone. I have not seen the phone number for Uber yet, but I know that you can call Lyft on the phone. And one of the other nice things that you can do through a number of the services now is somebody else can book a ride for you, and they can look and see when you've been picked up and when you've been dropped off. That is something that Hop, Skip, and Drive, as Kelsey was probably about to tell us, pioneered that concept, and GoGo Grandparent, but there are a number of the rideshare companies are offering that now.
Thank you, Kate. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would just also, redirect back to Via Mobility, which is providing services to older adults in many of the counties in our region, and DRCOG with their transportation resources.
Thank you. Actually, we handed out a lot of Via Mobility today brochures, so that was good. Thank you.
Kelsey, were you going to say something? I think you might have.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that through our program, the Hop Skip Drive contractor folks can call in and schedule through us. They don't need an app for that. You can download an app and be able to look up the rides that have already been scheduled, and that folks find that very helpful. But I was also just gonna say that Metro Taxi, I know it's an old school thing, but if folks are able to pay out of pocket, you can just call their number, and it's a good option. And I've actually found that sometimes it can be cheaper than Uber or Lyft.
I just put the phone number for Lyft, the direct number, in the chat if anybody's interested in that.
And I will also note for Accessoride, you can absolutely call in to reservationists and book a trip. We also have an interactive voice response system, so sort of a phone menu where you can select from your favorite addresses where you want to go to and from, and just sort of with your touchpad put in the time and the date. So that option's there. If it's a Accessicab trip, kind of same day on demand, that is actually contracted through Metro Taxi. So I suspect there's some special rates there if you're certified and approved for Accessoride.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so there's options where you don't have to fiddle with a phone or an app. But yeah, thank you all for sharing that. And I saw there was a question in the chat. Does someone mind quickly defining paratransit, sort of like what it is? Yeah, so paratransit is it's just transportation that has additional accommodations for folks who aren't able to use typical transportation services. So like any accommodations would be like a wheelchair accessible vehicle, or maybe a vehicle that accommodates a stretcher. Like if you're not able to sit up during transit, you can lay down in a stretcher, like those other ones that I was talking about when I was demoing the app, like curb to curb service, door to door service. It's just adding that supplemental feature in that makes it more accessible to persons with disabilities or folks that aren't able to use the typical fixed route service. So does that help answer that question fully? I realize I totally skipped beyond that and just, I think, assumed wrongfully so that folks would know what that was, but thank you for asking. I'm glad you did. Thank you. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of your week and the rest of your day.